Howdy everybody, it's the Blackhawks Cowboy here, and I would like to welcome you to my first ever interview, and today we have a very special guest, the Chicago Blackhawks first round draft pick, 25th overall, Vaclav Nestrasil Jr. How are we doing, Vaclav?
Hey, I'm good. I'm doing really good. I'm enjoying the summer, so everything's good.
Yeah, how was your vacation in Spain? I know, like last week, you took a little holiday, and how was that?
Yeah, I took like 3, 4 days off just to get my head out of the game and to chill, and it was really good. I enjoyed it. I saw some places, and it was a good few days off hockey and everything.
So, again, before we start, I would like to congratulate you also with Muskegon winning the Anderson Cup and the Clark Cup. As someone who grew up watching the USHL a lot, I know that takes a lot. So, what was your guys' mindset going into that playoff? You know, you guys were one of the best teams in the league that year, and how did you guys go and finish the job?
I mean, the mindset was obviously to get as far as possible. We weren't the team that was probably going to win it, or we are the favorites for it. We always we were kind of the underdogs, but we really bonded together. We got as one. We got as one team, and we got as a family, and that's basically what got us through the whole playoffs. Even though games were tough, we got through that, and kept going, and that's ultimately what won us the whole league.
Yeah, so we'll go ahead and get started with just from the beginning. You know, you're a hockey player, you got drafted, but it all starts somewhere. So, who, a family member, a player, who inspired you to like really take up hockey as a kid and just get started?
I think it was seeing my brothers play because they're a lot older than me, and I kind of grew up with a hockey stick because I know my dad didn't want me to play hockey, but always kind of wanted to play hockey, and I got to the hockey really early because I saw my brothers play that, so it was probably just seeing my older brothers play hockey, and I kind of grew up with that.
Yeah, so that actually leads me perfectly into my next question. You know, you grew up in a hockey family where three of your brothers ended up going pro. One of them was even drafted to the NHL. How did growing up in that competitive environment shape you into the player you are today?
Uh, I mean, it probably gave me a lot of competitiveness. It gave me a lot of hard work and stuff like that because uh, we were, our family is super competitive, and we always fought and we always played till and we always wanted to win, and that's ultimately what I got my into me right now. I always want to win. I always want to get the best out of me. So that was probably the one thing that I really grew up with, and that has gotten into me.
So, what was like the family game where like everyone would just go? Was it mini sticks? Was it like a board game or?
Uh, I mean, also all sorts of stuff. We have a background behind our house with a real hockey net. So I was always a goalie usually. So they always like to shoot at me and do shootouts and all sorts of stuff like that. But the competitiveness kind of showed everywhere. Either if it was board games or video games. We played a lot of video games. A lot of NHL back in the day. So all sorts of stuff.
So obviously you're from the Czech Republic and you came to America, I think 2 years ago. So what was the biggest adjustment on or off the ice that you had to make coming over to North America?
I mean, off the ice, I had to mature as a person a lot because it's not easy to move at 16 to a completely different country and speak another language. So I matured a lot in that, and I had to learn a few new things. But on the ice, it was a huge jump in everything: the speed of the game, basically the strength, just seeing how things are going, how everything's so much faster, so much nicer. I had to adjust to that and kind of set a goal for myself, and get to all of those guys that I saw.
Um, so now I want to talk about your path into the NHL. So we know that you committed to UMASS, you went to Muskegon, but you were selected eighth overall by Regina in the CHL import draft. What led to that decision of you deciding to go into the USHL to NCAA pipeline rather than the CHL?
It was my brother's idea, to be honest, because he had a huge part of my life basically in the past 2 years. I always wanted to go to CHL and go through that route because that's what my brother went through, and that's why I thought is the best option. And he was the one that came up with NCAA in college and USHL, obviously. And I started thinking about it. I thought it made a lot more sense for me to get to NCAA and kind of take my time and mature as a person and grew up a lot and gain weight and all that sorts of stuff basically. So it was my brother's idea, and I kind of realized that is the best option for me. And obviously USHL came up with that, so that's why I decided.
Yeah, and what led you to committing to UMass? Obviously, it's a great program, but you had a lot of talented programs, a lot of historic programs gunning for your job, gunning for your signature, I should say. So what led to UMass?
I mean, UMass was one of the first schools that really talked to me, and I feel like I did not really wanted to wait for another school, so I just wanted to kind of put my name up there, and I knew that UMass is a really good school that's was gonna push me. They develop players so nice. They make pros, and they may not have superstars at the start, but they make good role players and really good hockey players that when they go out of UMass. And that's what I was committing into. And I like the coaching staff. I like the facilities. I just basically like everything over the program. And so I committed basically 1.5 years ago till this day. Yeah.
So what are you planning on studying at UMass?
I'm probably gonna do sports management. So that's probably gonna be my major.
Going into your game a little bit, I've been following your game for a while, and one thing that a lot of scouts say is you have a innate ability in the clutch. They call it your clutch factor. In the playoffs, you were a point per game. How do you elevate yourself to fit the moment?
I mean, I think it's a part of a mentality I have. I mean, that's what I always got. I like tough games. I like when games are either tied or we're trailing by a goal and there's 5 minutes left. I live in those games and I like those games a lot. It's just being in that situation, and instead of getting crumbled by it, just enjoying it and getting the most out of me in that social situation. So maybe that clutch factor is kind of in me, and it kind of gets shown sometimes, and I'm glad it's part of me.
Yeah, I mean, it's very clear, it's very evident. You had that game one goal to win it. I think there was under a minute left. What was going through your mind when you scored that one?
Well, first I passed my teammate Jake Atlantic, and then he missed basically an open letter. So I was like, oh, how did he miss that? Like that's a game-winning goal. The puck luckily bumps to me, and I was basically on a goal line, so I barely saw the open net. So I just kind of threw it on the net that I hit that angle that I was aiming for, and I made that shot. It was a minute left, so I was really happy that happened, and I kind of decided the first game.
And so, what was it like in that game five high pressure situation? I believe it went to overtime. What was the emotions going through your guys' locker room when the game went all the way to the game five overtime?
Uh, well, we lost game four in overtime. It was basically game three was in second overtime in at our house that we won. It was definitely our game. We were dominating that game by every mean. And game four they won, and they were kind of dominating throughout the whole game. Then it got to OT, and they won that. So going into game five, it was obviously die or go, win or go home. And it was a pressure situation. The fans in Waterloo are just incredible. I mean, I couldn't hear anything. I couldn't hear my own coach, and I was sitting right behind him, and right in front of him. But I mean, it was a tough situation. It was a 3-3, I think, and we got into overtime. And I kind of talked to myself, and I just said like, "Hey, I'm not losing another overtime in this series." And I think that's what our mindset was going into that overtime. We just did not want to lose. We knew we were going to win that game, and luckily Jack Chris scored that goal. He got a hat trick, which was insane. And those emotions, just it was once in a lifetime feeling.
And so, I want to talk a little bit about your teammate too, Tynan Lawrence. What do you have to say about him? A lot of Hawks fans are keeping tabs on him. He's a projected top five pick this year, and I've heard he's a great guy, great player. But in the locker room, what is he like?
I mean, you definitely have to keep an eye on him because he's going to be huge. And I hope he's going to be huge this year. And I hope he gets drafted possibly as high as possible. I hope he gets drafted by the Chicago Blackhawks because that would be really good for us because he's an insane hockey player. He's such a great guy. He was selected to be a captain of Muskegon at 17 for the next season, which kind of shows what type of player is he and what type of person is he. He's mature. He's a nice guy to be around with. Everybody liked him, and he was just a great guy and obviously a difference maker on the ice.
Starting in about April to May, there was a lot of rumors connecting you to Chicago with either the 34th or the 25th overall pick, with a little help from your dad on Twitter, of course. When the 25th pick came around, what was your confidence levels going into that you were going to be selected?
I just wanted it to be Chicago's, and obviously I heard the rumors, and I read a lot on Twitter, and there was like a rumor like a week before the draft that it was either me or Sacha Boumediene on the 25th pick. I don't know who published that, but there were talks about that. So when that 25th pick came, I was just hoping that's gonna be me, and I know there was I think there was a commercial break after that 24th pick, so it was basically the longest 5 minutes of my life because I was just waiting for that pick to game through. And when I heard Muskegon, I kind of thought, like, okay, that's me, like this is it, and it just got to me so many emotions, a dream come true, obviously. So I was really happy.
Yeah, I mean, we've all seen the pictures. You were wearing Hawks jerseys, at skates growing up, Taser jerseys. Like that emotion of, was Chicago your dream franchise to play for growing up, or?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I always love Chicago. I always loved that duo of Jonathan Taves and Patrick Kane. I mean, Patrick Kane was a demon back in the time, and I used to play a lot of NHL on my PlayStation, and obviously Chicago was just one of the teams I always like to play with, and it kind of all came together. And I was hoping it was going to be Chicago because I know they like me throughout the season, and that Muskegon is basically 2 hours away from Chicago, so it's kind of, I know that my build family is close to there, and I kind of lived near Chicago basically the whole year, so I just wanted to be Chicago, and when that happened, it was just a dream come true. I was really happy.
So, as you said before, you're from Czechia, you're from the Czech Republic. A lot of great hockey players have come, but can you give me like a starting lineup or like a Mount Rushmore of players that you would put up there for your nation?
You mean all time?
All time.
Okay, I mean, among Rushmore of Czech hockey players would probably have to be Jaromír Jágr, obviously second in points all time in NHL. I mean, he's a legend in here. Uh, that's a really good question. I mean, for me personally, I would say David Pastrnak, somebody who's probably on among Rushmore. And he's going to be one day because I mean, what he's doing in the NHL right now. Dominik Hasek, he was a goalie back in the, I mean, 2000s, early 2000s, dominant goalie, helped us win a lot of stuff. And the fourth one would probably be, I mean, my favorite players, I would probably have to put my own brother because, I mean, he's obviously not a Mount Rushmore type of player, but for me personally, he would probably make that list because he impacted my life a lot. So those four would be on my Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, and then who would you say is the best one of those four all time?
I mean, Jaromír Jágr probably.
So, one last question. So, I grew up in Chicago, and in Chicago, everyone wanted 88. Like in-house travel teams, 88 was literally everyone's first choice. Was Yager's number? Was that ever like everyone wanted that, or was it more mellowed out?
It was not as much probably, but it was always also like a number. He obviously 68 was a huge number, so it was probably not as much. But I would say some guys wanted it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, who would you say is your NHL? Doesn't have to be from your country, but your NHL comparison that you would give yourself.
Uh, when I answer that question, I don't really have no anybody. And it may sound cocky, but I don't think there's really anybody that's specifically similar to my game. I just like to shape my own game by my means, and I like to play like myself. So, to answer that question, I wouldn't really say a single player.
And obviously, like your game has evolved even throughout the season. After the break, you started becoming more physical. You put up a lot more points. What led to that decision to like flip the switch almost in your mind to be more of a power forward?
It was my coach's not decision, but my coach sat me down around that November time, and he talked to me, and we had a tough meeting, and he basically talked about that physical part of the game that I wasn't doing at the start, and I needed to do. So he sat me down, talked to me. I basically cried in that meeting because he was really hard on me. I know he wanted to scratch me by that time, and luckily he didn't. He trusted me. I started doing what he wanted me to do. I started playing physical hockey. I started doing all sorts of things, and it basically worked out for me. So basically, around that time, it switched, and ever since then, I started playing like way more. I started getting home penalty kill, and I'm so glad that he was there for me when I needed him, and he helped me to get through that, and he kind of pushed me through that, and now then everything kind of started moving from then on.
Yeah, and What would you say is like your favorite goal that you've ever scored in your career? Youth, obviously, there's that one against your now teammate Anton Frondel, deked him out on the blue line. There's obviously that game one winner, but what would you say is like the one goal that you lay in bed at night and you're like, wow, that was awesome?
That's a good question. I mean, the goal against Anton is obviously a good goal, even now when it's Anton, drafted by the same team and all that story that came up. That's probably one of my favorite goals. I mean, my favorite goal. I don't think there's a specific one. I like my goal in PV Quebec. In the finals, I scored a game-winning goal. Was the first goal in that game. We won 3-0, and Adam Benach actually he passed me to an open net. And I scored, and to celebrate in front of the whole crowd. And it was the first time I actually played in front of a big crowd. So it was a moment I probably never gonna forget. So probably would say that one.
Yeah. Your dad, you mentioned earlier, your dad didn't want you to play hockey. Was there another sport that he wanted you to pursue instead of hockey?
I think he just after having all my brothers that played hockey, and I know when I was born, my brothers didn't go through an easy situation. They have a lot of troubles with hockey, so I know my dad did not want to be around hockey. He obviously helped my brothers, but it wasn't easy for them. And I know he wanted me to do something else that I'm gonna be happy doing, but I know he did not want me to play hockey because he just did not want to go again through that tough situations and through all that pain. But I mean, that's something that he didn't decide. I saw my brothers and I loved hockey immediately. So he was probably sad I loved hockey, but looking back at it, he's probably happy now, and I'm definitely happy that I chose hockey.
So everyone growing up, they all want to be an NHL player. What moment or season really clicked for you that wow, I really have a shot at this opportunity?
Well, I mean, probably this season was the first one that I realized it, but I was always a cocky guy, kind of in that sorts of way. Cause see my brother play hockey and kind of started getting to the NHL when I was growing up. I always thought it was going to be easy to get to the NHL or get drafted. So I always thought like, hey, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to play junior, then I'm going to get drafted and all that stuff. And so I was always cocky in that situation, but then obviously some of my stuff happened, injuries, and I got down, and I was just happy to play hockey again. So NHL wasn't an option back then, but I started getting back to it, and I think this season kind of really got into me, and that was the first time I actually realized like, oh God, I have a chance of getting drafted and getting drafted high, obviously, and potentially making the NHL roster one day.
Obviously, the Blackhawks developmental camp is very different from other teams. It's off ice. What was your favorite part about that, and who do you think you bonded with the most?
I don't think there's a specific person. I was living in Anton the whole week, so we probably bonded quite a bit together. I don't know if there's one thing I enjoyed about the camp. It was a really good camp all throughout. It was a week, but it was a fast week because I enjoyed it, and we did a lot of good stuff. We went on a boat through the city and we played games and did all sorts of stuff. So I really enjoyed it, and I was really glad that I got that opportunity to go there and kind of see the city and kind of see all that coaching staff and the management and the facilities. So I was really happy to go there.
Yeah, and so we all saw the video of you guys playing volleyball on Lake Michigan's beach. Who would you say is the best volleyball player on the team right now?
Well, I mean, I don't know if there's one. Our team, Team Green, won the whole thing and won the volleyball tournament. I think I did a fair share in that. So me, Mason West were in the same team, and being 6'6" guys, it's fairly easy in volleyball. So probably us too.
And then was there so obviously like AJ Spellacy and Mason West were both football players in high school. Was there any flag football or two-hand touch football games that were going on during that camp?
There, I mean, they threw a ball a few times, but there was the one part throughout the week. I don't know which day was it, but we had basically like a game, sorts of game. It was not an actual football game, but we had a few teams. We had four teams separated in groups of five. We were Team Green, and so me, AJ, Mason, Julius, and John Mustard were in the same team. And the basically the game was that we were set basically as an offense in a football game. Everybody has their own role. Some was a wide receiver, some was a quarterback and stuff like that. And we had to show our plays basically that were one of the guys, one of the management guys had Mason, which obviously was our quarterback as he's playing quarterback in high school, and he was giving him plays, and he was obviously giving us plays, so we had to show our plays on the board, got points for that, and basically you got points throughout the whole week for those activities and those games. And luckily we won the whole week as a team green, so it was really good.
And Chicago, obviously, one thing about Chicago is the food culture. Did you go to any famous restaurants or anything? And what do you think is the best Chicago staple?
Well, I'm gonna have to answer that question in a few years, to be honest, because I didn't really have time to explore the city as much. So probably as the years keep going, I'm probably gonna explore it way more, hopefully. So as of right now, I don't have an answer for that question, but hopefully one day I can answer you.
Yeah. You're 18 years old, right? You grew up in the age of like NHL 14, 15, 16, and YouTube. Have you ever watched a scouting report on yourself? For example, the Ringside General the other day put one out. Have you ever watched that growing up?
uh, not really. No, I mean, not really. I'm trying to kind of keep myself away from it a bit. So not really.
So is that like a thing where you just tune out all outside noise? Like, obviously in season you like tune out the outside noise, but in the off season, do you still do you ever look up your name and just see what's going on?
Sometimes I do, yeah. But I think it's important to kind of I think it's important to kind of keep a balance of, seeing your name, obviously, and reading stuff about yourself, but also still focusing on your game and stuff. So I saw some videos, but it's not a thing I'm, always doing. I also like to keep kind of my head and maybe not see what everybody's thinking around me sometimes. But I kind of saw some videos, yeah.
How are you able to like stay out of that realm in season? Because obviously there's a lot of people that do that kind of stuff, that see what pundits and people like that are talking about them, but it seems like you like to stay dialed in. So how are you able to do that?
Sometimes it's hard. You just have to kind of keep that outside noise and focus on yourself, really kind of keep that normal everyday life and doing that. And obviously, as I said, I sometimes look at my name and maybe saw a few videos or what people thought about me. And obviously I read Twitter kind of a lot. You maybe not want to know everything and everything that's going around you, and also you want to have basically an idea about yourself and not maybe overthink situations. So just sometimes you just have to get off the internet and keep your head to yourself.
Yeah. And you're a raw prospect. What would you say was your biggest weakness, and how at like developmental camp did they go ahead and attack that?
Uh, I mean, strength is one part and probably my biggest weakness as of right now, and that's what I'm going to work on the most. And I know Chicago's development staff is, uh, they want to help me in that situation. So we set the goals and we have a plan that I'm going to do and just really work on that and hopefully get bigger.
Yeah. So what would a day of nutrition look like for you? Like, how many calories and grams of protein would you be taking in on that diet plan?
I mean, I don't have a set goal for all of that, but I mean, it's just you have to get not as much food, but you have to get good healthy food in you. You really have to kind of see what you're eating and how you're eating it and when. Kind of keep a strict routine on that. I don't have a set calories goal or protein goal, but I'm just kind of I want to eat healthy, but I want to eat a lot so I gain weight. So that's kind of my main goal.
Yeah. And so what would you say for someone who hasn't really watched your game, maybe a Blackhawks fan who's not as in touch with prospects? What would you say would be your biggest strength? What would you bring to the table for the Chicago team in 2, 3 years?
I mean, size and the physicality and stuff like that. I think I can do a lot of things good, and obviously size is the first thing. I'm a big player, and everybody can see that. So probably that's gonna be probably my good one answer.
Got it. What about like shooting or stick handling? How would you say like you would rank those in terms of your size? Where would you put those in your skill set?
I mean, I think my skill set is fairly decent. I would say it was always one of my better parts of my game, and I'm gonna need to work on that to kind of show it to everybody else. I'm always a pass first guy, so shooting was not always my thing, but you gotta kind of see everything and kind of put everything into my game, and I think I have a fairly decent amount of everything in my game. I can do everything in a decent way. So as I said, I think I have a good skill set. I can play physical hockey. I can, impact the game on penalty kill and all that sorts of stuff.
When the time comes and you're in the NHL and you're with the Blackhawks traveling on the road, apart from Chicago, what is one stadium that you want to play in?
I mean, probably Madison Square Garden is one stadium I want to visit and play, and that's probably the one that I'm looking forward to. Hopefully one day.
Yeah. Was there ever, were you a big Rangers fan growing up? Because I know around that time Yarmer Yager was on the team, so
Not really, but it's such an iconic stadium, so that's probably one of the stadiums I remember, and I want to go to one day.
have you ever been to an NHL game like growing up? Obviously, you lived in Czechia, but were you ever able to make it over to North America and catch a game?
Yeah, when my brother was playing Carolina, we visited him for I don't know a few weeks, and he played against Pittsburgh. So we were in Raleigh, North Carolina, and saw him play a few games. So it was really good.
Yeah, and did they win any of those games? Because I believe you played for Detroit during that time, right?
I don't remember. I don't remember, but I know I enjoyed it a lot. So it was good.
And what would you say as a NHL player or just as a hockey player? Everyone's got superstitions. Connor Bedard leaves his blade off the ice. Kane would have to do his stick flips to the stands. What would you say is your weirdest NHL superstition?
I always well, maybe that's maybe a superstition. I always when I tape my stick, I always like tape my stick, the knob, and then I over tape it with a layer of tape. So when I put my knob on the ground, it doesn't get dirty. So that's maybe one superstition I do before the game. So I kind of keep my stick clean. I just over tape it with one layer that I'm gonna rip off after I tape the whole stick. So that's probably one thing I do.
Who would you say is the best hockey player you've played with or played against on any level?
I mean, I played against Gavin McKenna in U17 World Hockey Challenge, so that's probably an obvious answer for me. I would say so. Gavin McKenna. Yeah.
Yeah, how do you game plan against someone like that when he's big, strong, physical, but at the same time he can beat you with speed and skill? What was the game plan for you guys trying to neutralize McKenna?
Uh, I don't remember it as well, but I know we won that game actually. We won it 4-0, and so we kind of neutralized them pretty well. But it's just you gotta. I mean, you cannot give him space and stuff like that. But it's easy to say, but hard to do. You just have to be lucky when maybe you hit his off day and stuff like that because he's just an insane hockey player. But I remember we won that game luckily, so he didn't shine as much against us luckily.
Yeah, and going into this season, what would you say were your goals going into the season? Is it mostly off ice, or like do you want to see yourself getting X, Y, and Z number of points,
It
goals, and assists?
It's mostly off ice. I wanna mature a lot. Get obviously bigger and stronger. But I also wanna make an impact on the game, and I also wanna help UMASS get as far as possible. That's obviously one goal. But I mean, for me, oh somebody, oh wait, my agent was calling me. That's good. Yeah, but for me personally, I just wanna get bigger, get stronger, and make it as far as possible with UMass.
Yeah, and so you said sports management earlier is something you want to pursue. Is there, after your hockey career is done, is that something that you're looking forward to, or?
I mean, yeah, probably. I would like to stay around hockey, hopefully, and do that. But if that's something I want to do, I just want to have a something. I want to have a plan B. Obviously hockey is one thing, but you want to have a plan B in life when things don't go your way. So I know that's why I also chose college, and so sports management is probably something I want to do in life after hockey. Just be around hockey or any sorts of sports, and either help kids or just pursue that goal in any other way.
And one last question, and then I'll let you go. What message do you have for Blackhawks fans who, may not know you as a player, but what can you say to them to, get them fired up for you?
Uh, I mean, I mean, hopefully they're gonna support me, and I'm glad that people supported me on the internet a lot, and I'm glad for that. And I know there's great years coming for the Blackhawks fans. I mean, with all that potential that's there, and hopefully I can be part of that, and hopefully I can make a good impact on the game one day, and kind of get the best years to Chicago fans back again. So that's probably the one thing I'm looking forward to, and I know Chicago fans are looking forward to as well.
And I just thought of one last question before we go. What led you to choose your hockey number?
Well, I'm switching back to 11 right now, and I was always 11. So that was my family number, and I was 24 right now. I remember I have a photo back in the day. It was my first jersey back in my hometown club. So I basically, when I started playing hockey, I started playing with 24. So I kind of get back to that number, but I'm switching back to 11, which was always my family number, and I always liked it a lot.
Yeah. Well, I just want to thank you again, Vaclav, for your time. I wish you a lot of luck this season. I know a lot of Chicago fans are excited to see how you develop. And like I said, thank you for your time again.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.